The Tao Te Ching is over 2,500 years old, 81 chapters, 5,000 words, and it might be one of the most urgent books alive right now. Not because it's ancient, because we've spent 2,500 years doing the exact opposite of what it says. And modern life is beginning to look like the consequence. Does the Tao Te Ching still apply to modern life? Or was Wu Wei only possible before notifications and algorithms and deadlines, advertising campaigns, doom scrolling, and a world that monetizes your attention? Because if you've ever felt exhausted by modern life, there's a chance an old man from ancient China understood your problem better than we do. It's a world of constant force. We live in a civilization obsessed with force. Force your productivity, force your confidence, force your healing, force your growth, force your happiness, force your success. Wake up earlier, work harder, optimize more, consume more, become more. And somehow, despite all this effort, people feel more disconnected than ever. We feel more exhausted, more drained, more distracted, more emotionally fragmented. We have more stimulation than any generation in human history, and less peace. Modern life has trained people to believe that if something is not happening fast enough, they must force it harder. And that mentality has infected almost everything. It's infected our relationships, our spirituality, our identity, even our creativity, even rest. How bizarre is that? We must force rest. We no longer know how to simply exist. Everything has become performance. Even healing, that thing we do inside ourselves alone, that doesn't require external performance, has somehow become performance. It's almost an algorithm of restlessness. I mean, it makes total sense. Modern technology profits from interrupted attention. Your peace is economically inconvenient. Stillness does not generate ad revenue for the people at the top. Think about that. There's now entire industries that compete to keep you in a state of an activated nervous system. Because the longer you stay restless, the longer you stay consuming. And eventually, people begin to confuse stimulation with meaning. I mean, come on, we've all done it. You can scroll for 3 hours and feel like nothing happened. Because nothing did happen. Your attention was simply harvested. And I think that is one of the reasons the Tao Te Ching feels strangely modern. Because Taoism repeatedly warns us about excess. Too much noise, too much force, too much ego, desire, control. And modern civilization has become built upon all of that. We're drowning in more content, more series to binge, more 12-hour videos, more albums, more people trying to play the game of harvesting our attention. But we're not necessarily getting more truth. I mean, I guess the standout question is, what is Wu Wei? One of the central ideas in Taoism is Wu Wei. Usually it translates to a sort of non-forcing or an effortless action or even non-doing. But Wu Wei does not mean laziness. It does not mean give up. It does not mean stop caring. It does not mean do nothing. It does not mean don't try. Wu Wei means learning how to move with life. Like, we are at the mercy of the breeze. But as the leaf, we can curve and bend to adapt to which way we're blown. With the breeze, with life, instead of constantly trying to overpower it. A river does not force itself around a mountain. It flows, and eventually even stone gives way. Wu Wei is not the absence of movement. It is movement, without unnecessary resistance. And strangely, you've probably experienced it before. Athletes call it the flow state. Musicians will feel it mid-performance. Writers feel it when words arrive effortlessly. Dancers feel it when their body stops overthinking. Conversations sometimes enter it naturally. Moments where life suddenly feels unforced. Human beings often perform best when they stop gripping so tightly. When life becomes a dance where the music and the movement feels like a symphony in itself. And I think modern people have sort of forgotten how to flow. Modern people seem to have become deeply uncomfortable with stillness. Silence feels unnatural. I mean, if you're anything like me, I need to put something on just to go to sleep. To go to sleep. I will listen to people doing things, playing things, videos in the background. That silence just feels unnatural. Doing nothing feels guilty. Rest feels like it's unproductive. I haven't earned my rest yet. I need to get this done. I need to get that done. And because of that, people rarely experience peace anymore. Not real peace. Only distraction. The moment life becomes quiet, people reach for stimulation. The phone, the TV, music, food, scrolling, just noise. Anything to avoid sitting still long enough to hear themselves think. And maybe that's because silence reveals things. Exhaustion, loneliness, grief, confusion, regret, desire, emotions that, to the best of our ability, I feel like we avoid instead of understand. But stillness removes distraction, and distraction has become the modern anesthetic. And that's the funny thing about control. It's a bit of a paradox. You've probably noticed something strange in life. How do you chase some things? The further away they seem to be it sleep, love, creativity, confidence, purpose, the moment that desperation enters, something breaks. We no longer flow. We chase. And that's not how it's supposed to be. Because some parts of life cannot be forced into existence. You cannot force a genuine connection. You cannot pull from the depths of yourself inspiration. You cannot distract yourself into inner peace. And modern civilization has created people who are permanently gripping the future, gripping their image, their identity, their productivity, their sense of worth. And it's almost like we've forgotten how to loosen our hands. But there's a very poetic difference between flow and quitting, between wu-wei and no-wei. And this is important because modern audiences will hear wu-wei and immediately think, so what, just stop trying. No. Wu-wei is not surrendering effort. It is surrendering unnecessary resistance. There's a difference. The river still moves. Nature still grows. Look at the trees that interweave and the way the canopy moves. And you can see the breaks in the top. They grew around each other. Seasons, they change. Life still moves. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't constantly fight itself. And I hate to say this, but some of us are exhausted not because we're working hard, but because we're fighting ourselves while we work. Fighting who we think we should be, fighting the timelines of possibility, fighting comparison, fighting our own identity. That internal friction becomes spiritual fatigue. And eventually, people lose the ability to hear their own life's rhythm. I think modern men especially struggle with this, because many men have been taught that their value exists in performance, providing, achieving, producing, winning, enduring the impossible. And that momentum seems to become their identity. And when life becomes still, many men, quietly or not, panic. Because without movement, they finally meet themselves. And a lot of men do not know who they are without that progress. Without goals, without productivity, without pursuit. And that creates a civilization full of exhausted people who cannot stop moving. Because movement distracts them from themselves. And that isn't weakness, it's conditioning. But Taoism asks a dangerous question. What if your worth was never dependent on constant proving? The modern self-improvement world often treats human beings like broken machines that need to find a way to optimize harder and wake up earlier and consume more, produce more, become more. And discipline matters, yeah, absolutely, but many people are secretly collapsing under the weight of constant self-construction. They're no longer living. They're just managing themselves, tracking themselves, branding themselves, monitoring themselves. And somewhere along the way, people stopped asking, what feels meaningful? And started asking, what performs well? Even spirituality has become aesthetic. Even peace has somehow become content. The Tao Te Ching repeatedly warns us against our ego, against obsession with importance, against needing to appear some form of superior. And honestly, that feels almost impossible inside a social media culture where everybody has to be competition. Everybody's striving for the same window of attention. Because modern identity has become deeply performative. Everyone's building a character, a brand, a profile, a version of themselves. And after enough time, people can forget who they actually are beneath the performance. The Tao constantly points back towards simplicity. Not because simplicity is trendy, but because complexity often becomes camouflage. People pile identity on top of themselves, hoping it'll finally make them feel complete. But peace rarely arrives through accumulation. And let's be honest, sometimes peace arrives through subtraction. I've noticed something strange in my own life. Some of the moments where I've felt most peaceful were not moments I forced. There wasn't achievements or status or high numbers, just quiet moments. Driving at night, sat writing, building something slowly, looking at the reflection of the moon on the sea, holding my son's hand, a breath of silence after a long day. Maybe that's why the Tao Te Ching still resonates, because beneath all the algorithms and all the optimization and the pressure to become, human beings are still human beings. We still need stillness. We still need meaning. We still need connection. We still need moments where we're not performing. So, does the Tao Te Ching still apply to modern life? Maybe now more than ever. Because in a world addicted to noise, stillness becomes rebellion. In a world obsessed with forcing, flow becomes wisdom. In a world constantly asking, what more can you become? The Tao quietly asks, who are you beneath all of that striving? Maybe Wu Wei still works because human beings were never designed to live this disconnected from themselves. And maybe peace was never something we had to force. Maybe it was something we only had to stop resisting. Make impact beautiful.